the Q&A session of the film The Cave. We're very happy, and the festival is very happy to introduce the director of the film, Feras Fayyad. Hey Feras, how are you?
Thank you for having me here. I'm okay, and this is my second time in this great festival. I really have a great respect and love for the people who work here and for the audience.
So Feras, I guess obviously I will be the one starting this conversation, and I guess I should ask you something that inevitably will get asked in this conversation, and I can be the one to ask it. You participated in the festival in 2017. You won the competition program with The Last Man in Aleppo, and looking at it from a distance, from a viewer's perspective, it does seem like The Cave is a sort of continuation. It's again talking about humanitarian efforts in Syria. But as far as I know, you started work on this film in 2013, so it's not as much so much like a continuation as sort of a different process, a different story. Could you tell us a little bit more about the creation of the film, how it all started, how the idea came, what the process was, stuff like that?
In 2013, I started shooting with the white helmets, a footage. I wasn't aware where this footage will goes. That's it. I was following the leader of the white helmets, and I managed to visit hospital. I went to a place where those volunteer working, and I heard about many of their brave hard work, like to make the Syrian society believe there is a life in Syria and not live outside of Syria. So I managed to shoot so much footage about the white helmet. It wasn't connected with Last Man in Aleppo at all. I didn't know that footage will lead me to Last Man in Aleppo. Anywhere, those also, including those footage that I shoot up, many footage connected to the humanitarian work in different kind of footage that I was just shooting footage. And then I managed to develop an idea of Last Man in Aleppo, and then while working on Last Man in Aleppo, I was developing this project also as a story about the hospital under bomb, as an idea of the hope and surviving, as an idea of like a new society being built under the war. That's those ideas, but also like reporting about the bombing of the hospital. I want to closely bring the attention for that because my family is there, my father, my mother, my sisters who live in Syria. So for me, it's important that try to help them also connect, try to tell that they need hospital, they need medicine, they need something for that. It's so much for me personally, and this is the only way I felt like I can help them because in the end, I'm a Syrian, I'm a refugee, I don't have a power. Even if I succeed as a filmmaker, I will not get the same successful in any other filmmaker in general because my access for working in the industry, it's not easy things to do in my life because I have to deal with so much things, including I have to take care of my family. I'm responsible about them in general way. This is the responsibility to my family. And the story of Dr. Amani is a story of how I feel toward my society, how I can help this voice to represent my society and bring the power of staying in this country and fight for staying. And no one want to be refugees, neither me. I mean, if you ask me today, you want to back to Syria? I said, yes, right now. If Assad regime left, it's a Russian left, I will right now, right over back, and I will start to rebuild my country in this way.
Did you know at the very start of filming, of shooting, that this was going to be structured on The Cave in particular and on Dr. Amani as a character, as a protagonist of the film?
No, in beginning, no, I wasn't so much sure because, filming those film, it's hard to be sure about anything because you don't know if you're the people that you film with, they want to make it and survive or not, or they will be saved with sharing their information for public audience or not, or the public and the journalism or the media industry will understand their sensitivity of their sharing their public picture, or the people around, or the audience, or the media will understand also that there is also like a filmmaker who want to try to tell story. So it's a complex things. All of this is things that coming together in somehow. But through 1 year from work, we start to be sure that Dr. Amani, our main characters, and she's the main subject of this film. We've been filming in several hospitals. We've been following several subjects. We minimized it to one in the end to follow this Dr. Amani and her brilliant story and her inspiration for her society and the change in her society. In the end, when she first to leave her city and went to another city in Syria, I filmed her there personally, and then we left to Turkey, and I kept filming with her personally. And in the end, after that, we edited the film and bring it to her and show it to her, and she's surprised that she being the main subject of the film. She said, "Where the other doctor? Where the other stories? Where the victims? Where I don't want a film about me." I said, like, your story is represent all of the thing that you are talking about it. Of course, we have a negotiation about that. She was super humble. She don't want to be like this. And I told her, this is the story that can tell the story of this hospital.
I mean, obviously, the way she is perceived in the hospital and the other female staff is perceived in the hospital is such a big theme, such a big part of the film. Was it easy for you to actually approach her and for her to be exposed to the camera, to be a character in the film?
First of all, no, it wasn't easy. I wasn't shooting with her. I was filming. I was having a cinematographer filming from distance because the cities was sieged, and it was also another challenging that make them and continue on filming. I left in that city before leaving Syria. I left in Eastern Ghouta, in small in one of the city that follow in Eastern Ghouta, and I've been arrested from that area also and tortured in the same area. When I left Syria, I know a lot about that area. I know about the people who living there and how they process have been treated also from the government in the same way from the Assad regime. And so the city was completely sieged, so I couldn't have access myself to film, and I established a cinematographer who filmed there. But I filmed with the Dr. Amani when she moved to another city, where I managed to have the access and enter to Syria and film in other cities. The communication was up and down and not easy, and I thought it wasn't. Literally, it been escalating because Dr. Amani understand that it's her understand that how much it's important to document it, what's happening around here, and find a way how we document it. I mean, we are not saying we are making just a documentary. We are doing a non-fiction film. We are finding the best moment can we capture, the moment that we can turn to be a story, not just in this way. Of course, was shooting so much footage also that I have this was important because also those footage could be turned to be an evidence for crime against the humanity. It could be used in somehow, but also I was want to film something can be a story. So we focusing on the two sides of that in this way. She rejected many times, saying, "No, I don't want, let me go and focus on other things," and later we managed to make it through.
Did you feel like there were any sort of borders that you shouldn't cross as a filmmaker while portraying her, while giving her sort of the freedom to not be fully exposed?
I wasn't with her in the location in that hospital in the cave. As I said, and when she turned to another city, yes, I was with her. I was very careful about the thing that I would film my cinematographer was filming with her, they was also very careful. Of course, one of the things that we was talking about it, that let me do our work and don't let your camera stop me from doing what I do, and don't involve yourself. Don't involve your team. When I'm saying self, I'm meaning also my team, because a lot of people sometimes when I'm talking about self, they think me that just I'm the only one who work, But self, it's me and my team in general. So we have those things that we have to deal with and respect it in this way, because the work of the doctor the hospital is very tight, and the camera should not take the electricity because there is no electricity, there is no water, and there is no so much space for the injuries that they have to take the space. So any cameraman who stand there who take a space from the injuries, that the important things. Yeah. So we managed to find this plan and not put so much pressure on her or pressure on the hospital and take the space from them.
Okay, we have a question from the audience. It's actually two questions in one. Where do you get the strength to make these powerful documentaries? And another one is, do you think your movies actually make a move in people who hold bigger power in their decision making?
Where I get the strength because my family endangers all the time, and I feel I have the responsibility to do something for them. I think this is a decision of. I think this is about life and death for the so close circle in my life, and I feel this is even it's like so much like a dream. I feel that this film can help and somehow to do something for my family, to do something for the people that I met. Dr. Amani means so much for me because she represents so much values that I believe in. Her values with saving the society, fighting for women's rights, saving lives, fighting in the front lines, taking a lead in such situations, not being one person, being builder and giver. That a lot of those values that I feel like it's beautiful and important, and this is what the Syrian society want, that destruction. The second question was, what the second question?
Do you think your movies actually have a sort of influence on the people who have bigger power in policies?
I can't guess that, but yeah, I mean, a lot of those people, politicians, always in very powerful position. They saw the film. It's hit them, affect them, and make them feel something. And some of them, they try to do something. And I don't know, like it's hard to guess what that we do those things. I sometimes I feel guilty even with call myself filmmaker on those film and Last Man Labo and The Cave. I doubt so much about my name, my credit in this way, because and somehow yes, it's important because it's our personal story, but also it's what does me filmmaker in such a situation? What are you doing? Filming the pain of your people, their hard moment. That sometimes it's guilt in my position as a filmmaker in this way.
Another question coming to us over Facebook, surprisingly enough. How did your own personal emotional reaction to the story change throughout the shooting? And was it possible for you being there in that situation to kind of get accustomed to the cruelty that you see every day?
Well, I mean, the film that we do, I mean, it's not film, it's a real story. That the footage that we shoot and we've documented, it's very emotionally affected and influenced our life. And because it's something we saw every day and we experience and we live with as a Syrian. I mean, you know what? It's affect me. It affect me like to make me very angry sometimes, and that it's not easy things. I have to go to therapist. I have to go to deal with my personal life. It's left me with so much energy and angry energy inside my body, and that's not easy. I mean, not easy because sometimes it could make me a person hard to work with, or a person hard to express my feeling because or a person who can't handle any hard situation happening around me. That's normal because you are not making a film about some experience that you don't have a connection with. It's people, you know, this is your people, this is your country, this is it could be your brother or it could be your mother in this situation, and you know this is dangerous. It's getting closer and closer from your circle, family, from your family circle, but also the pressure of the subject themselves, the people that you film, they're screaming in your ears, thinking that you can do something for them because that, and also some of them blaming you, telling you like, what can film do for us? What can cinema do for us? What can this do for us? That thinks so much, you know, in the brain and inside the head. It's difficult. It's difficult to deal with. Yeah, I acknowledge that it's very hard, and it's make me really not okay in many levels.
I wanted to ask you about more technical maybe aspects of the film. Once you know what the film is going to be about, and once you sort of enter that screening hall or your computer screen in this case, it's kind of surprising to see the very start of the film before you see the actual title, where you see this huge panoramic shot, and then you see this very, very visually kind of striking movement of the camera from this big, big portrayal to a very, very tight, tiny scene with the candle, which, if I'm not mistaken, was shot on film. Is that correct?
Yeah.
And it sort of feels like it's maybe at times cut from maybe a different cloth than the rest of the film, which is in a very tight space. Could you maybe elaborate a little bit on the choice of the beginning aesthetically?
Well, I normally love to start my movies with a opening that can be have like a kind of motivate the people to think and analyze and take them like to different level. That's the thing but I try like to connect it directly for the story. The shot that we shot when the rocket fall down, it show you a city, calm city, then how the war hit this city in this way. And then how is everything with hitting this city is destroyed, and even the history, the personality, the futures of the city, but down there is a meaning for surviving, even in the worst, in the places that we could not imagine. We can survive as a human. That's what I'm telling, because this is what you can go through it. It's take you from a picture of a fear and destruction to down there where everyone down there can be saved, even the hell going on and around them. Yeah.
And as much as that sort of the beginning of the film is very much visually striking, I felt like throughout the film there are many moments where there's a very sort of huge a stimulus from sound in, I guess, different ways, from hearing the bombs to hearing the music that the doctor plays from his phone. And it felt like there was this sort of almost attacking quality, obviously in very, very different ways, that you get from the sound in the film.
Yeah, this is what I try to do in the cave. At the cave, it was like a kind of an experience, and cinematic experience, not a journalistic experience, and not documentary experience. It's non-fiction experience, like the act of killing or the look of silence, which is those both my favorite movie. You know, like you see a documentary, there's somebody documenting things, but also you see there's a fingerprint for the filmmaker who try like to find a moment where he styled and the story, which is this is what you can do in such a situation. You're just not doing a documentation for the moment, but also you try like to find out what you can develop as in the visual concept and the story concept with the negotiation through relation with the character, so the comfortable relation with your subject, through the moment that how you can the idea how you can get people through the film. That the most important things. How you can get the people through the hell to watch the hardest moment. You need to search about the moment that make people, yes, I want to watch this film because of those moment, the nice moment, and then through those nice moment, people can receive, and then those hard moment that completely it's about the documentation of the crime against humanity.
That's what was very clear, at least for me watching the film, that there are so many scenes that are very, very raw and very sort of emotionally draining, but they're sort of structured in the way that you don't feel emotionally manipulated, which is something that happens, I guess, in documentary film from time to time.
I mean, all the documentary have a monopoly. Okay? We can't hide this on the audience. I mean, you move shot from there, put it there. It's hard to tell story without moving things around, like saying like this I shoot it in this history and move it to not that date and this date. I don't think there's a filmmaker can tell a story archaeologically in this way. Even the archive film, whatever you tried, you could have like a close shot from the moment you film it after 3 days and put it like in a moment, in different moment. It is about the emotions that you want to put the people in. You don't want to, of course, you have not to touch, of course, the most important things in documentation, like the chemical attack, the thing that happening, the real thing, the bomb, and all of this is different. But moving scene around, it's something happening in documentary. It's hard like to say no, it's not happening. It's happening in all the way of the documentary. You have a timeline of how things develop, and you try put it there, but sometimes you need like a close shot that you shoot it before 10 days and you want to put it in after 10 days to work that, because the same reaction that you wanted, because you need them, the result of them, the emotions.
Yeah, and I mean, returning a little bit back to what I mentioned about the beginning of the film, and obviously after the title, you see these doctors working in the cave, and it's a kind of a different visual style than the first scene, because it's very tight corners, it's very tight, small spaces, and it felt like watching the film, the more you see, the more you sort of realize the logic of what you're seeing. Whereas the camera seems to be so focused on body and on face and on expression, and there's so many instances where there's something happening that's kind of outside of the shot because the shot is so focused on the body. So was that like a very intentional aesthetical choice that you made before shooting, and what was maybe the influence or the idea behind it?
I love to focus on the human behavior and relation. The behavior is a positive word. So how you can catch this is relation and body reaction and trauma through the war and the hypersensitivity of the body. That what I really want to focus on. And that what the choice that I talked to the cinematographer about it and the whole team. Yeah. And the editor who was helping me selecting the footage. Yeah.
We have another semi-question, more of a comment probably, saying that maybe the answer for if this film is needed is that it might not change the acts or the attitudes of the people in power, but it might help to survive to the people who are living it.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard, like, I don't know, I mean, it's difficult, I mean, and it's hard, like, to change the people in power, but, you know, the cinema, it shape our vision for the world and shape our behavior also. It influences us in somehow. But the people have to look to the film, not look to the people behind the film. That's the important things who make the film in general. We sometimes interested as a people in the filmmakers or the people who made the films, and that's where the problem is. I think the most important that we have to think about the films, the stories of the people who are in front of the camera.
Another question from the audience. Thank you for sharing such a touching and important story. How did you build the connection with the doctors, and how long did the crew stay together in the cave?
I'm a Syrian. We are a small group. We know each other who was active in Syria. So it wasn't hard for me. Like if you are in Lithuania and in one city and you have a conflict in that city, and you know there's people who's defending for values, great values in their city, you have absolutely easy connection to that. So if you believe in same values, you are doing this. So it wasn't hard for me to do that because she know me and I know her, and we have a communication. She know that I was arrested and tortured. Her brother also be arrested, disappear. So she know that there's many like common things that make our like communication, it's easy in somehow. Dr. Amani is an amazing person, and she's have a great values to believe in.
Okay, we have been talking apparently for half an hour, and seems like a good place as any to finish this talk. Thank you for coming, thank you for sharing, and I want to invite everybody in the audience, everybody watching this film, to join us in our second watch party tomorrow, watching the film Behind the Blood. So thank you, Feras, for joining us.
Thank you for your great film festival and a beautiful country. I told your colleague many times that this is country, it's very beautiful and close to my heart. I really have a great times and so much respect for your team and for your people.